Hi everyone, this is Mamta with Sugarbush and welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to talk about the process that I took in ordering my spring bulbs. That's my tulips, the daffodils, the grape hyacinths, and just the process that I used. And of course it's not something to go by, it's just my personal opinion of just the factors that I considered. So you guys could go ahead and do it exactly how you were gonna. But I was just gonna list some of the factors that I did consider before I purchased them. And so yeah, this isn't knowing me telling you how to place your order. Just go ahead and do it however you please. A lot of people do love to just go on these websites and pick out flowers that they think look beautiful and something that they'd love to see grow in their yard, regardless of what time of the year, time of the spring that they will bloom, or all these other factors that I'm about to mention. So yeah, just go ahead and pick out whatever you think is beautiful. But if you are a little OCD like me, go ahead and keep watching for just my list of my process. All right, so I placed my order from two main places online. The first one is Color Blends, and the second is tulips.com. And this video isn't sponsored, but these two websites seem to have a endless variety of tulips and daffodils and all these bulbs that come up in the spring. So if you're looking for a huge selection, do visit these websites. They're fantastic. I will link their websites in the description box below. They are fantastic. So yeah, I got actually all of them from one of these two places. So honestly, if you want to go ahead and just order the flowers that you just adore, go ahead and do that. But I spent the last week kind of trying to figure out which bulbs to order. And I wanted tulips, I wanted daffodils, and I wanted grape hyacinths. So the most important factors that I came across the first one was height. So I love to make bouquets and floral arrangements, and so one of the most important things for me was that the stems of these bulbs, the stems of these flowers at least, are robust and are able to withstand being cut and being put in a vase, and stay kind of beautiful and don't wilt for several days. So that's something that I did consider. Just the sturdiness of the stem was an important factor for me. And I don't know if this is true. This might be me just like BSing. Somebody please call me out on it. But I think, in my opinion, that shorter stems, narrower stems, and flowers that have multiple blooms on a single stem tend not to do as well in a vase. Somebody correct me. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but if you haven't, do leave a comment below and saying, hey, no, this is not the case. But that's kind of how the sense that I've gotten. So I tried to order ones that are more like single blooms. So that was one factor. The second factor is naturalization. So this is a new concept for me, but it seems to be like a really important consideration when buying spring bulbs. Some tulips and daffodils will adjust to your climate and your hardiness zone and will come back perennially, depending on where you live. So the cutoff seems to be around hardiness zone 7B and up. If you do live in a region that is 7B and up, you're going to have a slightly harder time, apparently, with having spring bulbs come back every year. So they're great the first year, but then the second year onwards, they either are a little stunted, or they just don't come back. They tend to rot in the soil. It's because it seems like these bulbs tend to acclimate to your climate, and that's what naturalization basically is, in that these plants will acclimate to your hardiness zone, your cold temperatures, depending on where you are, and kind of like your soil and everything. They tend to adjust and they will come back. I tried to order many that naturalized to my hardiness zone, which is 8B, But I know for a fact that I picked some that are not hardy or are not going to naturalize in this hardiness zone. So those are definitely going to give me a harder time, is what I'm expecting. But you know, the flowers were so beautiful, so I was just like, I'm just going to do it and see what happens. So yeah, that's one thing that is an important factor to consider. Like, do you want them to come back? If you don't want them to come back, that's fine. But if you are expecting them to be perennial, naturalization is something that you are going to have to consider. It is on the website and the descriptions of a lot of these flowers. And if you are picking ones that don't naturalize, there's this thing called pre-chilling that is apparently a thing that I didn't know until recently. So what you have to do for those that don't naturalize, you have to go out there, plant them, you have your blooms, you have your leaves, you wait for the leaves to make as much energy for the bulb as possible, and then you have to go out there and collect these bulbs and store them and eventually refrigerate them for like at least 6 to 10 weeks so that they basically shock them into thinking that they've gone through or experienced this like really cold temperature. So when you put them back in the ground for the next spring, they come back in a more robust fashion. So that's pre-chilling, and that's something you might have to do. The third thing that I considered was my season. So a lot of people, the season of spring. So a lot of people will go out there and order flowers that will bloom all at once. So you've got your tulips, your daffodils, your hyacinths. You can have them bloom all at the same time, and I'm sure that looks like absolutely magical. But I prefer to have something or the other blooming throughout the season of spring. So I had, spring can be divided into early, mid, and late. And I tried to order bulbs that are going to bloom in all of these seasons, sub-seasons, I guess. And I tried to mix it up, so I had like daffodils and tulips and hyacinths all blooming at different times, just so that I have something or the other blooming throughout the spring. And the other thing that I did consider within what I guess it falls within the season of spring is when I try to make floral arrangements or bouquets, I wanted a tulip and a daffodil that kind of maybe contrast but still look nice together to bloom at the same time. So yeah, that's another thing. If you are looking to make bouquets, make sure that your tulip and your daffodil are blooming around the same season. So they're both mids or they're both lates or they're both early, just so that you can match them up and make these beautiful arrangements. The other thing that I noticed, at least with the daffodils, not so much with tulips, because tulips go straight up, is how the angle at which the daffodil is facing. So apparently, if you notice, a lot of daffodils kind of hang downwards. It's a thing that daffodils do, and this what makes them look so beautiful is that they're kind of like downward hanging or downward facing flowers. But many daffodils are also upward facing, and those are many of the ones that I selected, the ones that kind of face upwards, so that when you do put them in a bouquet, they just look up at you, and it's just so beautiful. And the very last factor was the color combinations, like I mentioned before, accentuating blooms for different colors. So it's easier to pick tulips first, because you have more of a variety. I picked, I think, about 6 different varieties, and of course I try to space them in terms of like early, mid, and late bloomers. But I also try to get them, the ones that kind of bloom closer to each other, to match so that I can put them in the same bouquet. So it's easier to pick the tulips first, and then you can kind of match them to a daffodil that blooms around the same time, because daffodils you don't have as many varieties in terms of color. So you have like the whites, and you have the yellows, and you have the kind of yellow and orange or yellow and apricot, but that's pretty much all you get within daffodils. And all other blooms are just, like you can just add them in between to add more color and more robustness. So I ordered a whole bunch of grape hyacinths, and I'm going to show you the pictures, and there's going to be tons of pictures after this. But the grape hyacinths aren't something that I'm going to put in a vase, but they just accentuate the blooms, like, because they're far shorter, and it just like fills up the gaps between the tulips and the daffodils. So that's something that is gonna look fantastic, is what I'm thinking. So let's see how that goes. And the next bit that I'm going to show you is basically the ones, the blooms that I ordered, and my plan for what I have for my driveway, because I think I'm going to put them on either side, and I'd love to get your opinion on, you know, what you think about my plan in terms of how I'm going to be planting these. If you have any like other ideas, I'd love to hear them, just to, you know, bounce ideas off each other. But yeah, just keep watching. All right, and now we're off to the drawing board, literally. So this has kind of been my process for the last couple of days. I have been writing down the names of the flowers, including like tulips, daffodils, the hyacinths, kind of putting a little color next to them so that I know which one it is. And I've been trying to like basically color match them to which one would look good with the other and which blooms at what time. So I'm seeing I've written mid here, mid, early, that sort of thing. And it just took so many tries to kind of get them all kind of paired up. I did that again, and I did it again, I did it again, and I finally came up with just what I think is the best like combination, and that's over here. So this is my first run of how I think I should do it in our garden. So that's our gate. This is our driveway. And I initially thought I was going to put them in like a sickle shape, just down the driveway. So kind of like 2 or 3 rows of tulips, and in the middle put the daffodils, followed by the grape hyacinths that will go all the way. And I thought that would look really pretty, just kind of flowing down. And our driveway is a little like slopey, so I thought that would look absolutely beautiful. And then I realized that worst case scenario, if I have to like pull these out and re-put them in every fall, I guess like take them out in the spring and then put them back in the fall, it's going to be a pain in the butt to have to like look for them like this, and then they're going to start getting mixed up. So I just, you know, scrapped that idea and then moved on to the next idea. So this is my illustration of what I think I'm actually going to do. So there's our gate again, our driveway. This is the driveway, and I think I'm going to actually put them like this. So basically in big circular clusters. So these are the same, these are the same, these are the same, these are the same, so on and so forth. And they're all different colors, and they're all different types of tulips, and, you know, different varieties. So I think this is going to be easier, both in terms of having to pull it out later, and also it might look better as a cluster. I don't know, I think life is going to be a lot easier if I do it like this. Let me know what you guys think, or if you have any ideas. But this is the plan right now. So if you look, I have the names written down on the left hand side. The first set are going to be Big Apricot and Flower Parade. Big Apricot is like a Darwin hybrid. I think it's a mid bloomer, and it's kind of a pinkish apricot flower. It's beautiful, and it's super tall, so that's going to be like fantastic when it comes up. And next to it I put this is Flower Parade, and Flower Parade is a double daffodil. It's a white flower with a bit of it's like an orange, I would say like an orange or apricot colored center. It's got these little petals in the center that come out in that color, and I think that would look like really pretty as a combination. And then I have Banya Luca with apricot whorl. So yellow and red flowers, and apricot whorl has I think it's like a orange. Is it orange? Apricot whorl is, I know it's a single flower. Oh yeah, these are the ones that are single daffodils, but they have a giant cup in the center. and they are, I think the center is kind of like a peachish color, and they're late bloomers. And then you have Angelique and Pride of Lions. Angelique are these double tulips, and they are late bloomers, and they're kind of like a pink and white flower. They're meant to be super gorgeous. And Pride of Lions is the daffodil that I put next to them. So Angelique is a late bloomer, and Pride of Lions is early to mid. I'll try and put up pictures on the side. Hopefully this is going to pop up. And then the one after that is Maureen. Maureen is a marblish white French tulip. So it's a single, and I think it's a late bloomer, but it's super tall. It's a single stem, single flower per stem, and it's a marblish white flower. I'm still not sure what I'm going to put around it because I haven't selected a daffodil yet. And I'm not even sure that I'm going to leave that there. I also have these barrels right at the front of our gate on the other side that I'm considering putting them in on either side. Okay, and then we have Copper Image and Tahiti. So Copper Image and Tahiti are... So Copper Image is another double, but it's a copperish color, as the name suggests. And Tahiti is gorgeous. It's like a yellow flower with... it's a double daffodil, so yellow with a little red petal, or multiple little red petals in the center. They're mid-bloomers. And then we have Akebono. So Akebono is a Japanese tulip, and that's the one I'm a little concerned about, but I think it's just so beautiful, at least in the pictures, that I thought I'd give it a go. Worst case scenario, it doesn't come back. But yeah, Akebono is like a pale yellow tulip with red frilling on its edges. They're a semi-double, and they are mid to late bloomers. And I thought I'd put Watch Up as a daffodil around those. Watch Up is a pure white daffodil, and the reason they're called Watch Up is that they look upwards. And remember I was telling you this in the previous bit, where the best thing for cut flowers and for bouquets are flowers that look upwards. And I think Watch Up is going to look really great when I pair it with these Akebonos. And the very last one is my Pink Parrot. And the Pink Parrot tulip is another unique one. It's a single tulip, but it's got these flowers that have pink and white ruffled petals that look a lot like the feathers on a parrot, and I think that's where the name comes from. And I think it's got like dashes of white, so that's going to be really pretty. And next to that, I put Yellow Cheerfulness. And Yellow Cheerfulness, I'm almost certain that isn't going to go into... I'd be surprised if that goes into a vase. So it's the only one that I got that's a daffodil that is pure yellow and is a double, and is also... it's got multiple blooms on a single stem. And I don't know how well that's going to do in a vase, but we'll find out. But yeah, this is my general plan. Let's see how it goes. I'm sure the next video that I put up will be me planting these. So yeah, if this was interesting to you guys, or you're curious to see how this plays out, please do keep watching, and please do subscribe to my channel. I'm going to keep these videos going. All right, thank you so much. We'll see you in the next one.